Hi, it's Martin W. Ball, your Kangen water guy, here today talking about the Kangen 8 E-Clean. So there's been some changes within Enagic. Fortunately, they've improved the e-cleaning process. So for those of us who originally bought our K8s maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, the original e-cleaning tank was this green tank. And one of the challenges that we had with it was that when we filled it up and we put it in the unit, it was laid down with the tank cover like this, and therefore as it was in there it could occasionally leak. That created a bit of a problem with the cleaning process. Also, if you have this cleaning tank, what tended to happen was this here was the suction part of it, and as we filled the tank and then we put this in, sometimes this would sit up in the air, so it would come right up to the top of the tank. Therefore it was just sucking in thin air. So what a lot of people would find is that when they came to the end of the E-Clean and pulled it out, this was still full of water. So one of the things to be aware of, if you do have this tank, or you know anybody who's got an older K8, then you can contact Enagic and get a new tank which looks like this. This is the brand new version that they were sending out. It says, you can see, white with green E-Cleaning tank, and the lid is on the top, therefore when it goes in the unit nothing can leak out. Also, what you'll notice is that in this bottom corner, the actual suction pipe that is from here at the back of the K8, the suction pipe is actually locked down in the bottom corner. This is a really powerful way to make sure that our unit E-Clean is taking place with the K8. There shouldn't be any issue. I've never had an issue, and I'm going to walk you through a few steps, tips and tricks to make sure that your E-Clean works every single time. So as I said, we're going to get rid of this tank now because we don't need it. If you do have an old one and you are struggling with the E-Clean, best thing to do, make sure that that suction hose comes down to the bottom, and then you should be all good. However, you can contact Enagic and get it changed. Now let's look at the normal way of E-Cleaning now, based on the way that Enagic have provided us with the K8. First thing you're going to do is press setting. You're going to go down and you're going to press E-Cleaning. It's going to walk you through a series of steps. These steps are there to help you, especially as a first-time user, and just as you find your way with this. So if I press yes for the instructions, what we're going to find is we're going to get a tank here, and it says fill with water and 2 sachets of this citric acid. So I always just use tap water. I'm going to fill that up. This actually tank has been used. We did a recent E-Clean. I'm going to fill this up with water. I'm then going to get 2 sachets and put them in. I'm going to get my cap and I'm just going to lock it in place. Now, once it's locked in place, it's a simple process. You know the suction pipe's down there in the corner. Everything's all good. So because we've done that, we'll say yes. The next thing it wants us to do is to take the front cover off and take out this tank. So this is our enhancer tank, and you can see the difference clear. One says red, electrolysis enhancer tank, not for drinking. The other one says cleaning tank. Now what's important to be aware of, how the unit knows when the cleaning tank's in or the enhancer tank is in, is that these little grooves here, on the enhancer tank, it's got 2 pins. So what happens is when you push this tank in the back of the ionizer are 2 little pins on the side. They both push in. When they both push in, it knows this enhancer tank's in. On the green one, the cleaning one, it is missing a pin on the top. Therefore, when we slide it in, the top little prongy pin stays out. It knows then this is the cleaning tank. So for instance, if I put this tank, which is the enhancer tank, in, and I press OK, it says error. When I put the green tank, cleaning tank, in and press OK, it now lets me move on to the next stage. So that's something to be aware of. There's a little bit of a tip. Also, another tip is, what I always do is I get a damp cloth. So basically just put some water on it, wring it out, and I gently go into the unit and wipe over the 2 prongs, because they need to be pronging back and forth. So when I push them in and let go, they need to push back out. So I'm going to clean in there, and then I'm going to gently clean along the actual pipe, which is the suction pipe to suck in the enhancer or the cleaning fluid. And I'm just going to gently wipe around there. And the reason for that is to clear up any buildup that may have leaked out. I'm also always going to be making sure I'm wiping around the tanks to make sure they're always clean. So once that's done, this is full with your citric acid and water. You put that in place. I then personally put the front cover on. And the reason for me doing that is just so I know that tank won't pop out. Okay, so that's on now. The next stage it says is to remove the filter. So as we take the cover off, and we undo the locking pin and remove the filter, it's going to beep to tell us the filter is out. Always be aware that the two rubbers that are on the filter need to come out with the filter. If one of them stays in here or both stay in here, you need to remove them, put them on the filter and put that to one side. The next thing, you're going to have your CPU. This is your cover for once you've taken the filter off. It's basically going to cap it out so the fluid, the cleaning fluid, doesn't pour out. Once again, both black rubbers on. It can only go in one way. Put that in, lock it down and turn the locking pin on. This now can't come out. The final part of the process, once we've done that, and it says there, we've done it there, we press OK, and it says to cap this end of the pipe. Now what you need to make sure you do is dry it. Okay, ideally get it as dry as you can. If there's any water, this will slip off. So right now it's dry, I can put that on and I just gently pull it and see it's not going anywhere. Now at this point I can press OK and it's going to tell me that the e-clean is ready to start. Now naturally I'm not going to go through this process right now, but one of the other things that I do is what happens during this process, and I also advise that you do actually make sure that the tap's down. If you've got children or maybe somebody doesn't pay attention in the house, you may want to unscrew this off and just detach the whole K8 from the tap so no one can run water through during the clean. But one of the things that I do is, because for the next probably 45 minutes to 60 minutes, the first hour of the cleaning process, it's going to be sucking in. You're going to hear a whining noise. It's literally sucking in the fluid from the cleaning cartridge to fill the K8. Think of it as if you burnt a pan and you went and filled the pan full of water and left it to soak. Well, this clean is actually designed to break any mold buildup, calcium buildup in the unit, mineral buildup. So what it's going to do is suck that fluid in, fill the unit and let it sit then for another 2 hours, 2 hours plus. So as it's filling the unit, what you'll notice is water, or the cleaning solution rather, will come through this pipe and it will drip out as it's overflowing, which is a good thing. But one of the things that I've chosen to do is actually get this pipe and turn it up, and I bring it further into the sink because it's going to drip. And the idea behind this is that rather than the cleaning fluid just coming and pouring out, it's actually going to fill up all this pipe and sit here. Anything that needs to overflow will overflow. However, all this end of the pipe that wasn't dipping down is now going to be cleaning and soaking in that citric acid solution. So once this has taken place, and let's say it's 3 hours later, the clean's finished, I do my clean overnight. I just leave it overnight. There's no harm in doing so. Once the clean's finished, then you're naturally going to come to your unit. It's going to say 000, and it's now going to walk you back through the process, which the first thing will be remove the red cap. As you remove the red cap, all the fluid that was in there will start to drain out. Now, if you notice that within just a couple of seconds, this stops draining out, it's because there's an airlock. Okay, and one of the ways that you get rid of that airlock, you can also obviously turn this down. There's going to be some fluid comes out of there. One of the ways to get rid of the airlock is you're just going to undo this lock and you're going to lift out the CPU. As you do that, there is going to be a back pressure that comes up and starts to fill this. No need to freak out. I've never had it overflow. It's always flowing out the end of the bottom hose. But if you do, you will naturally have a cloth around to help you. So once that's all drained out, you will then get your filter. You will turn your filter over because there was water in it and let that water drain out. It's really important right now that you're aware here at the back of the K8 filter is a chip. This chip has a sensor here and it reads to make sure it knows how much water volume's gone through, how long the filter's been in use. So therefore, once the water stopped dripping, we need to make sure that's completely dry, as is this area, and then we put the filter back in. As we put the filter back in, we then put the lock on and lock it in place. Now, one of the things that I always do is just give it a gentle wiggle, make sure it's all locked in, and I don't put the cover on right now because I want to make sure that when I put the water through, it isn't leaking anywhere, so it's truly locked in position. As I now go back through and I put the, sorry, I don't want to put the cover on. I want to take this cover off. Take out this tank once again. Get your damp cloth, get in there and wipe around that area. Make sure it's nice and clean. Everything, those two prongs are pronging back and forth. You've gently wiped around the suction hose on the right. Once you've done that, same again. Wipe around this, make sure there's no build-up. Remember, this is an enhancer solution. It's a saline solution. When it leaks, it solidifies as salt. Want to make sure that's all clean. We put that in the unit. And then the unit is, as we've gone through the instructions, the unit's now going to tell us to run the water for approximately 5 minutes. As we do that and we turn it on, we're looking for leaks around here. So if I turn the unit on now, what I'm going to be doing is looking for any leaks that are taking place around, more so around this edge. Everything looks fine, therefore I leave the water flowing for the time of the rinse, and then I can naturally imagine the rinse is finished now, I can turn it off. Whilst the rinse is taking place though, one of the things I tend to do, and I'll show you what it looks like, is I remove the cover off this, and I just basically put this into the sink and let it fill up. So I'll lay that on the base of the sink and let it fill up and overflow. This is basically cleaning out the cleaning tank. So it literally like that, but just sat there for ages. Same with the lid. Make sure that's all cleaned and rinsed off. And the next thing is, whilst it's doing that, I actually pour it into the top, the big hose, and let it flow out. That way, I know that these have been rinsed. So imagine the rinse is finished now. What I'd be doing with these is putting them down so that they can drain out and letting them air dry. So that's basically it. You let everything air dry. You can dry it if you like, but make sure it's dried. But air drying is always the good way to go. And then I get my red cap. This is a good thing to be aware of. I get my red cap and I put it in here. And the reason I put it in there is I've always got it for the next e-clean. And then I put my cover over and my unit's ready to go. And that's how to do the e-clean. There's nothing hard about it. You just follow the process, but there are a few things to be aware of. And as I've said, since I've been actually using the damp cloth, getting in there and making sure it's all clean, and even after you've done this clean, whether you've taken the CPU out, you know, wiping all around here. I've gone to people's homes and they've got, like, especially the K8, but even other units, but certainly the K8, and there's build up around here, there's stuff around here. Sometimes it's even hard to lift the cover off because they don't maintain the unit, yet they still want great healthy Kangen water. Well, the unit's only going to produce as good as it's being maintained. If it's not maintained on the outside, is it really being maintained on the inside would be my question. So just make sure you're always taking care of this. This will work as efficiently as you want it to for the next 20 plus years, as long as you're looking after it. So that's basically how to do the e-clean. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment below on this YouTube video. Look forward to educating you further. Thank you for your time, and bye for now. Enjoying my YouTube channel? Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification bell to receive further value.